everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. I'm Kevin. I'm joined by the man that it is sad that America did lose, but it's really cool that Venezuela, and I think just the personality that we've seen a lot of these teams display in the WBC has been a great experience.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that the way they play is extremely cool to watch and cool to see, but I do wonder how the U.S. will rebound. They have not won in the last two, this is really the thing that they want to win, but also a lot of their players aren't playing in it. But for Venezuela, I mean, amazing. Eugenio Suarez had a big hit. Gleyber Torres is a very good WBC, and a lot of these players came to play. And I do think it's cool that a team that's not won before did end up winning. I think that's cool.
Yeah, and I love the post-game celebration from Venezuela. There was an interview with Eugenio Suarez. I thought that was fantastic. And America, has lost in the last two finals. And to me, I think there's been an attitude from a lot of the American players that are not super focused on the WBC. People talk about Tariq Skubal, about he only competed against in one game, and then he left to focus on the Tigers. And I think that's something you see a lot of the other teams are focused on winning the WBC and doing that. I think the U.S. just wasn't as focused on it. And you can also talk about there was a major controversy. It wasn't a controversy that it was a ball, but just that they couldn't challenge that pitch while the MLB is implementing the ABS system this year.
Yeah, and I mentioned this before. This is about Skubal, but I would not want my starting pitcher to play. I mean, if you do the math and you start in, let's say, 3 or 4 games, 5 games, I mean, if you're playing in a round robin, I mean, these guys, I know it's only going to be like 5 innings, but still, you're pitching in a lot more games, and that just adds to the toll. I mean, if you go on to the World Series, I mean, you're going to be pitching in 40-plus games as a starter, 40-plus games of intense. Like, spring training is unintense. Like, you don't have to strain your body in spring training. Yes, you should be pitching at probably 80% to get warm, and you should be trying to execute some pitches and make sure that you feel confident in your release and feel confident about your approach to each batter. But if we're looking exactly in the scape of like, hey, you need to succeed right now, well, that's not necessarily the case in a lot of these other ones, because they just don't have the ability to, like every other position, they don't have the worry, I guess, not ability, but the worry to, hey, we need to rest, because there's players in the MLB today that play almost every game all season. I mean, Judge has played a lot of games, thankfully, last season. They played a lot of games in not the year before that, but the year before that. So they don't really have to worry about having long-term injury concerns, where for pitchers, I think that's the one spot right now that we see injuries crop up the most. I mean, Tommy John surgeries have really plagued a lot of the best pitchers. So I understand Skubal not wanting to play. I do think for some of those other, it kind of sucks that like Mike Trout couldn't play because he wouldn't be covered by the insurance, and there's other players that fall into that same boat, like Bo Bichette and other guys for other teams. But yeah, I do think that Venezuela was extremely focused, and their passion for the sport was definitely noticeable.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of debate with the WBC timing that I've seen, and I think this is one positive from it is you have so many teams with personality, and it gets you thinking about baseball season, and then you go right into it. The con is the injuries for starting pitchers, and for players as well. So there's a lot of insurance. I did have the idea of why does it have to be right before the season during spring training? What if it was like in January or February? I think that would get people thinking about baseball. And yes, you'd be competing with the NFL, but I think this type of market would get players involved, and then you can build off what happened last season, and then you still have some time for players to recover and rest before spring training.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good move because you get December off, or you get basically all of November off. Because even if the World Series wait into November, it's not many days. All of November, basically all of December. You play, let's say mid-January. You get it done. Let's say it's really 3 weeks. So if you start like on January 10th, for example, you'd be done by the end of January. Then you have all of February off, and I would just start spring training later. I would start spring training at the beginning of March, even though it usually starts at the beginning or the end of February. It usually starts like the 22nd of February, I think. But I would move it, push it back, and start it. It maybe push back the season like they normally do, where the season right now starts in April, basically. That's fine. We'll just do the entire month of March as spring training, and April start the season. So it pushes back the season a little bit when you have the WBC, which I think should happen. In all the other seasons you can play normally, the seasons in between. But I think that would be for a pitcher. I think you would be more inclined to play if there was more of a break in between the season starting and WBC ending.
Yeah, it's something I'm curious to see what they do because I like I like the WBC, and I do believe it is helping baseball gain more fans and build their market.
Yeah, yeah. Is there something else you'd like to see besides just the timing change? Or I do think that the ABS system will be there in the next WBC. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I believe so, and it will be something to where I like where it is now. I think the only timing change is what I feel is needed, but overall, it's been a great product.
Yeah, I do think it's been a great product. I do really, really, really enjoy watching these games, and it does. It's like when the team I want to win doesn't win, but like I said, I do think that the intensity and passion shown by Venezuela is admirable, and I enjoyed watching it, even with the U.S. losing.
Yeah, and Venezuela wasn't the only team either. I felt the Dominican Republic was also showed a lot of personality. I love the idea with Italy and their espresso bar. I thought that was amazing. There was a lot of
I
great
also really like
moments.
watching Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico played very well, and same with Japan and South Korea. I think those were really the teams I enjoyed watching the most. So Mexico was also pretty passionate as well.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. So I'm looking forward to the next one, even though it'll be a few years until then. I'm curious about the discussions and what will happen. So let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.